Hello again, everyone. It's Henry here, and I'm off on another solo trip. Going back to the Chattahoochee area that I was at on my previous trip, but this time going in a different direction. The plan today is to go in at the Matagmacy boat launch like we did before, but this time we'll head south and for about 3 kilometers in a narrow bay whose name escapes me just now. And then there's a 1,300 meter portage from there into Kukagami Lake, and then I wind my way through Kukagami Lake, which has got lots of interesting bays to it, so I think I'm looking forward to that. And then I'll get me to the 800 meter portage into Donald Lake, which is tonight's destination for camping. So this trip, the first day's a fair bit. We've got 2.1 kilometer portaging and maybe 15 or so K of paddling, so it's enough when you're double portaging significant weight. But I believe, I've been told the portages are in decent shape, so we'll just have to check. On the way in, I'm going to break off and go up the Kukagami Road slightly where the 1,300 meter portage crosses the road, and we'll see if there's any evidence of it there, and if there is, that'll be a reassurance that there shouldn't be too much trouble getting through. Okay, so tomorrow then I'll paddle whatever out of Donald through the Colin Scott and Gold Lakes into Matagmacy's north end, which I think is called McCarthy Bay or something. There's an island site there I'd look to get, hopefully I can get. That would be on Sunday night, so hopefully that also would chase away the weekend warriors. And if so, then I would stay there 2 nights. And the second night, so the third day, I want to do a day trip where I paddle over to the dam at the northeast corner and go around that, and then there's Coral Falls there. And it looks like there's a number of either rapids or chutes there, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what's there. And I might go a little bit further downstream. We'll see how everything looks for an interesting day experience down there. And then day 4 is paddling back out. So look forward to having you along with me, and thanks again for watching my videos. So we'll go to the right and see if we can find this portage. It's 3 or 4 kilometers up the road, and we'll see what happens. You know, who knows? It's pretty sketchy. So it is here. All right, so that's the main thing. So finding this portage from the low end of Matagmacy into Kukagami, I went up the Kukagami Road just to see if I could find it, to see what kind of condition it was in. It took a little bit of doing, but I've been able to find it. And there's a pile of rocks there and a tiny weeny sign. And that's on the east side. But as you can see, there is a trail. It doesn't look insane to try and get your stuff through. Like there's a trail through here. You won't believe me, I guess, but there is. And then over here, but there's the corresponding trail to the west, which is where I would be coming from in an hour or so, hour and a half. Right here, you can see the sign on the tree. I missed both of these on the way in, and I was able, fortunately, to catch them on the way back. So it looks like this is a go. So we'll see what happens, but it's encouraging anyway, and it's nice and cool. So it's a 1,300 meter portage in total. This road is probably a little short of halfway but probably going to do it in at least two stages anyway. Okay, finally underway here. My gosh, a lot of mucking around this morning, but I'm on my way hopefully to Donald Lake. I just got off you can see the launch behind me here. I guess there's the launch there. That's pretty much it for the Matagamasee boat launch, and we're heading south into this bay, and hopefully in 45 minutes or so we will hit that portage that I found on the road, and if so, then we'll be hauling over to Kukagami. The weather for this trip, I've delayed it 2 days. Yesterday was something else. So you had 70-kilometer winds and rain, all the rest. So it wasn't a canoeing day. But it's cool this morning. I'd say it's about 13 or 14, maybe 15 out here. A little bit of a breeze, but as you can see by the flag over here, it's not any issue certainly in here. And I just have to get the canoeing going here and get the speed so we can get down there. It's 3.4 to that's as the Raven flies, so it's probably going to be a little bit more than that. So I suspect we're going to be, it's now just 11:30, so probably about 12:15, and then I've estimated 2 hours to do the 1,300 meter portage. I have to carry twice, and it is a trail, so that's good, and we'll just see what we get. So we've had a lot of this water cover here on the lily pads, which slows us down trying to get to the portage. I got 1 kilometer to go, which just means it's down that slot there on the left side, and I'm following those open parts I can find here that look like someone's been through with a canoe or something. So hopefully it's that simple. You can see one of those tracks up here through the back. We're going out a much more water route. So this little bay is where the portage starts. There's the sign. Okay, very good. Now we have to figure it. Let's take a little bit of stuff we can ground on and maybe get out. I don't think it's too bad. I'm not going to be able to make too much video here because I got to keep going to get this done if we're going to make Donald. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Hello, and thank you for watching this video. It is a pleasure to share my adventures with all of you. To help achieve my goal of at least 1,000 subscribers, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to Hiking with Henri and click on the like button for this video. It is completely free and would be of great help to me. Thank you very much. So the takeout here isn't horrible, except that this tree fell and makes the path quite narrow, and there's a lot of very sharp branches here. And that's the direction we came from. But it only took me about 10 minutes to get from the water, and I have the canoe here ready to go and the pack ready to go. So we're going to start off with the pack. The idea now is to go about 10 minutes, probably take us past the road, and then we'll come back for the canoe. So we're off to a reasonable start. It took a little longer on the paddle in, almost 4K with all the meanders and the bit of the headwind. The model calls me to do this whole portage in 2 hours, which would have us at Kukagami ready to go at 2:25, and so we'll see how it turns out. So to the average person, this doesn't look like a trail, but it's actually pretty good. There's an excellent treadway that you can easily find, and there's not many rocks. I was able to do the first 800 meters with the pack in about 15 minutes. This is the other direction, and so given where we are, this is pretty good. So 15 minutes, 10 to get back, another 15 hopefully to get the canoe over, and we've done 800, so we only have half that to go to Kukagami. So far I'm pretty happy with how we're getting along. That portage went really well. I'm so pleased. It was long enough, probably more like 1,500 meters, but the tread surface was just terrific, and somebody's brushed it out, which is really, really nice. There's only a couple of downfalls given all the wind from yesterday. That was pretty remarkable. So that was a win. All right, we'll have something to eat and we'll be on our way here. Lots of junk. Let's try that. See, it's really hanging back here. Oh, maybe we can go through there. Let's try that. Okay. Kukagami Lake, here we come. So this is going to be quite pretty in here because there's lots of twists and turns to this whole thing while I put my paddle together here. Then we're going to start. So we get sunset here around at this time of year around 7:45, and so I wanted to be on Donald and hopefully at my campsite by 6, and that might be a little
bit of a big ask right now. It's 16K to go altogether, right onto Donald and the estimated campsite. So I figure it's probably 13 to 14 to the Donald Lake Portage here on Kukugami. Without being silly about it, the sooner I can get to the Donald Portage, I just want to be able to set up when it's not dark, but it'll be what it's going to be. So I've decided to make a look at the map. I can go over the top, of course. It's about 5 or so kilometers, or I can take this 320 meter portage. So based on the math that I have, a 320 meter portage is about the same as about 3.5K paddling, plus or minus. And with the cold wind today and the later how it was looking, what time I'd be getting to Donald, and it was starting to rain a bit, which I was hoping it was supposed to, but of course it doesn't matter. I've decided to take the portage. Well, I think I made the right decision on the surface here, because the surf's got pretty good swells here right now. The wind probably as high as I've seen on this lake up here. Again, the lakes aren't that big, but the fetch here is pretty good given that the wind is coming right down the lake. Sure wouldn't want to be paddling into this today. That's a real, you'd be earning your Wheaties doing that. It's probably not going to show very well on the video, but the wind's coming into me in my face at 25 to 30 kilometers an hour. It really got up, and you can see out there the swells and everything are getting to half meter, 60 centimeters. But the shore is all good. So it's a nice portage, easy walking, with a few rocks, but not too bad. There was no hill in the middle that I kind of thought there might be based on the contours, so here we are, and hopefully we saved a bit of time. So there's the idyllic setting on the water on this side of the portage compared to the maelstrom on the other side. So I think we're doing pretty well, and hopefully getting over to Donald's portage and getting that done as soon as we can. So I just came out of the 320 meter portage that cut off that horn there on the north part of Kukagami, and now we're heading for the Donald Lake portage, which is hopefully only about a kilometer and a half away. Sure is nice to be in here though without all that wind. My gosh, this is a totally different experience. Here, there's a bit of a breeze, but nothing like we had there at the end and that wild sea thing. So we're headed for the narrowest part there, that center piece, and that should be pretty close to. So by the time we got here, the wind's up again, but the surf is nowhere near as bad, so it was okay. And thankfully we didn't have to paddle into it. And we'll get the canoe in a minute. It doesn't bang too much, and it looks like a really nice trail. Lots of rocks. I don't know. It's hard to figure. The weather has been unbelievable today. We had this, I don't know what it was, for an hour and a half or so on Kukagami where the wind just started up. And I bet you it was going 30 at times. And I got here to Donald and there's nothing. It's almost calm. We had a light misting rain that lasted 10 minutes, and now it's just almost a mill pond. Unbelievable. So I went to the first site that was marked on my map, and it's not very inviting. There's a lot of rocks, very hard to take the canoe out. It doesn't look very impressive. So I'm going to go over to the one on the point and see what that looks like. Interestingly enough, so far today, I haven't seen, other than when I first got here, where I parked my car, there was a guy there. I haven't seen any people at all today. Not even, nothing. So they're all smarter than I am to stay home, I guess, in this type of kind of fall weather. But It's neat to be here. This is a lake that I've heard of from different videos on YouTube, and it sounded pretty nice. And I'm really glad I made the effort. So I paddled up the lake to there was a rock face sticking out of the water that just looked like it'd be a beautiful site to camp at, and I think what it seems to be is on the other side it slopes down to the water and looks like a really nice takeout here, and this is campsite written all over it, that's for sure. And I don't see anybody here, so I think I might have scored. Well, let's just take her easy and see what we got. But this looks like an amazing campsite here, and there's even some kitchen stuff here. So I'm just going to go check it out and then I'll give you a tour. So this is the south direction of Donald Lake here. And over to my left, it's a bit hidden, I'll go a little further over here. There's a little lagoon here where you can bring your boat in. Now it's smooth rock, but it's right level with the ground, so the takeout is really easy. You can just see the canoe there with the red in behind the bushes. And then here there's some deep water for getting water without having to deal with the surface. And then for me, I wanted to sleep up here where there's a bit of a view. It might get a little colder up here, but we'll see. Could well end up waking up in a fog with the mists on the lake. And here's my home for the night. And then I have my 2 items, my pack, which is empty, and my gear bag, which has nothing in it food related, hanging here for tonight. And you probably can't see it, but about there somewhere there's a blue marker on the tree, and just in behind there is where the backcountry toilet is, which is great. Oh, you can see the canoe here, and I put the paddles behind the tree just to make sure. And so then all that's left is now my little workstation here, which is the chair and the table and my 2 food barrels. So what's tonight? So tonight's dinner, after everything, a sandwich, some pudding cups, 2 protein drinks, some chocolate, and some Gatorade. That should do it, and hopefully the whole secret is to try and sleep as well as I can so it's still fun, and then tomorrow we'll start all over again. Thanks for coming along today. It's been pretty nice, and it's pretty nice to be here on Donald Lake. I was sitting there having my just starting my meal, and after I set everything up, and it started to rain, and it hasn't quit. It's been going on now for pretty close to half an hour. So I was getting, it starts to soak you. It's not a heavy rain, it's just but it's the kind of thing that can soak your clothes. So I set the tarp up, and I'm really pleased with this. So I'm going to show you here. I've got this square tarp, and I've just lashed it to random trees wherever it is. We're using those aluminum clips. And I only did the corners, and it's more than good enough for what I'm doing here. And I rigged it, I'm fairly tall, I didn't want to be crawling underneath it. So so this time the tent's on its own, and we'll see what happens. But it's really nice to sit under here and not get wet, I must tell you. So it took some doing, but the tarp's getting broken in. It was set up on Wakamika Island I got 2 trips ago, I guess. But this is the first time where it's actually done some real service. So pretty nice. And my trip at the Metagamacy government put-in marked item 1 on the map. From here, I headed about 4 kilometers south on McLaren Creek to the beginning of the 1,340-meter portage marked item 2. Incidentally, the road where I verified that this portage actually exists crosses the path pretty much under the number 2 label on the map. After completing this portage, I headed north on Kukugami Lake, but encountered stiff 25 to 30 km/h winds that were following that created at least a 50 centimeter swell. So given the conditions and the remaining amount of daylight at item 3, I opted for the 320-meter portage marked at item 4 to get some shelter and to shorten the trip to Donald Lake. The next phase was the 880-meter portage to Donald Lake marked item 5, and then to my beautiful campsite on a rock shelf on Donald Lake marked item 6. The weather was highly variable, but largely overcast and blustery most of the day. I felt alone and connected with the wilderness. The totals for today were 16.8 kilometers of paddling, 666 meters of double portages for a total of 8 kilometers of walking, and then a grand total of 24.8 kilometers of human travel done in a consistent but not rushed 6 hours and 30 minutes. I was over there having my meal and it started to rain like a kind of a soft soaking rain, and so I rigged my tarp here over these trees and it worked great, and put myself underneath there and was able to stay out of it. And then I got all sorted out and got in the tent, and I barely closed the door, and boy did it ever come down. So I was very fortunate. It was, you could hear later on, it poured off of the tarp onto the ground. So it was quite a day. Well, good morning from Donald Lake. Here we are. It's about, I don't know, 7:15. And it's about 6, maybe 7 C. It's cool, but thankfully there's no wind. I find my hands are a bit cold, but the rest of me is doing pretty well. I think we did pretty well. This tarp thing is awesome. I love this thing, and how well it can lash to these trees and those little clips there. They're just the living end. So, and basically what's really nice is the way the air, I guess, has been overnight. It's dry. Now the tent's still damp on the top of the fly, but the tarp's dry as a bone, so it's pretty nice. Anyhow, we got forecast for the weather, and it looks improved, which is nice to see. We're looking at decent weather today and tomorrow. I think even tomorrow we'll get even more sun, which is going to be nice, and then maybe more cloud on Monday or Tuesday, sorry, but we'll have to see how it rolls out. That's my day going out, so if I have a little bit wet there, it's not the end of the world. So today I want to explore Donald Lake a little bit. I kind of went up through the bottom end of it, and I don't think I'm probably going to go back, but over to the west side there's some nice bays there I'd like to go. I'd like to see if I can get into Kettle Lake, and then there's some bays further north, and I'll check out some of these other campsites I've marked too to decide which ones are worth looking at, because right now the ones I looked at, none of them were worth it, but then this one, which wasn't marked, is gold, so who knows.
I'll be proceeding into Colin Scott, Gold, and ultimately into McCarthy Bay to a campsite on an island that I'm hoping to get tonight. Given that I haven't seen anybody, it's hopeful that that would be available. And I'm in no hurry. The math on this is about a 5-hour travel. So I'm probably going to leave here about 10 or 11. So that'll give time for it to warm up a little bit and to get a bit of the tent drier than it is now and so on. And so that's where we are this morning. And I'm just sitting in my chair enjoying this beautiful place. So this morning the campsite looks pretty decent. Everything's the way I left it. The tent, the tarp, my cooking area there. Not that I do much cooking, but my water bag. And the pack is hanging there, and the canoe through the trees over there. Everything seems in good shape. So one of the challenges I had was managing these cords, because they get fairly long and they can get tangled really quickly. And so when you open up your tarp, you know, you have a half an hour of messing around with it, which gets old. So I came up with this, which is a piece of PVC pipe that I've cut some notches in, and then I can spool the thread around it quite nicely. And right now, of course, they're loose like this, which just means they're going to get lost. So what I'm doing right now, when I have a few minutes, is I'm going to run the cord through the center of it, and that makes it captive. So it'll be on the string somewhere when it's deployed, and this prevents it from getting lost. So this is a little innovation that cost me nothing, and so now they're like that when they're finished, and I can just wrap it up with the tarp, and it's no big deal. So one new gadget I'm working on for this trip is this thing. This little black unit here allows this stick to be seen by the phone's file manager. So what I'm doing right now is downloading all the images and video I took yesterday from my phone and dumping it into the stick so that my phone's memory will be comparatively empty for today. Now this, let's read this here. It was 9 gigabytes in total I'm dumping, and it says it's going to take about 30 minutes. So we'll see how that works out. I have my battery here. See how much my phone eats up after that, but we'll see. But looks, it's a pretty cool unit. So per chance this morning I decided to top off my phone and my GPS with the battery. And in doing so, I found that the GPS's jack on the GPS proper is broken and can no longer accept a cord. I've been having a little bit of problem with that thing before, where it would go off and on, and I thought maybe it was the cord. However, I don't see how you can fix it. So I have a charge in the GPS for today, but it'll go dark probably early by tomorrow. So since I really like keeping the tracks of all these things, and I've got people at home who worry about me and want to follow my trips, I'm going to have to come out today instead. But I got a bit of work ahead of me. It's probably a 7-hour day, as I guess, from here. Hope to be out of here by about 11, and it'll be probably 6 or so by the time I'm at the car. So that's what's ahead of me right now, and I'm just finishing packing up. I should point out also, I know it's a 21st century kind of problem. It seems that the old 50-cent part holding everything up. I can navigate as I did for years without a GPS. That doesn't worry me too much. I've got decent maps and I can figure it out. It's the tracks that I really like to keep, and the ability to text with family. They know that I'm okay out here versus hearing absolutely nothing until I show up again. I just don't think that's very fair. So we're going to go home. Hello, and thank you for watching this video. It is a pleasure to share my adventures with all of you. To help achieve my goal of at least 1,000 subscribers, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to Hiking with Henri and click on the like button for this video. It is completely free and would be of great help to me. Thank you very much.
So, sadly, in a way, I'm on my way from this beautiful site here at Donald Lake, and I'll pass by it so you can have a better look from the ocean. It's pretty sweet. So here's the site at Donald Lake. You probably won't get that one again because I'm sure it's pretty popular, but given the cold and the weather here, I'm the only person on the lake that I've seen.
My camp on Donald Lake was a dream site. Really very little to criticize. The canoe landing itself, other than props being sand, was really easy and nice to use. Level sites on the promontory where you have the beautiful views of the lake are hard to find, but there's ones further back in you can use. The water access is amazing. The cooking area, there's plenty of it, and there's lots of improvements there. The toilet box is there. It's in good shape. It's not too far away compared to others in this area. The view's amazing, and of course, at $0 the price is you can't beat that. And so I took a little off on the level sites, but other than that, 98.6 is the highest rating I've ever given. So if you get a chance to come to Donald Lake, you're probably not going to get this site because I'm sure it's in high demand.
Odd to be this close to the car, if you will, and be this alone, but I guess that's also September as well. Yeah, pretty sweet. The low end there where you can get out, and then you've got this cliff here. Not a real cliff, but rock surface. Let's get turned around here. But it's not that high, so it's nice for a view without having to climb too much, and it's a really pretty gentle slope. Again, one of the challenges it seems up here is level campsites. Some of these rocks, it goes down a fair ways. I think you could probably jump off, go swimming or something, which would be kind of fun in the summer, although these waters would probably be pretty cool, I would think. But if it's a hot day, what the heck, eh? Let's say it kind of looks like a campsite. So there's that one, which is nice enough, I guess, if you can find a level site in there. Now I'm up here in the upper bay of Donald Lake, just half a K from the Portage to Colin Scott Lake. And the north end of Donald is a lot more rugged, a lot of higher cliffs, big rocks, all kinds of stuff. And when at the south end was pretty much the, where I camped was about the only rock structure you find, comparatively speaking. So the north end certainly looks pretty wild up here. Well, we got through that. So when I arrived at the Colin Scott portage from Donald, it started to pour. Pretty steady rain, straight down, cold. So I had to scramble, put things away and get a raincoat on and all that. The takeout is pretty steep, probably 25 to 30 degrees. And it's pretty smooth rock, so I was very concerned about falling and slipping and ending up rolling right into the lake or getting hurt. So I really had to take my time. But we're through, and the rain has quit, and we've got partly cloudy skies right now for, who knows, the next 15 minutes or something, since it seems to be so changing. That's about all I can say since I got here, is the weather has been very changeable. Well, welcome to Gold Lake. Lots of dark clouds around here still. So that was our first look at McCarthy Bay. We're done the 3 portages. Thank you very much, because they're hard enough, but thankfully not too long. I got done 15 minutes earlier, so I'm basically having my lunch on free time. According to the GPS, is 15K back to the truck. I'm not so sure it's that short. We'll see. But we got a west wind, so I don't know how hard the pushing is going to be, but hopefully we can at least maintain 4. And I should get back before 7 at least. Whew, kind of a tough morning for me. Had 2 heavy downpours, cold rain and some wind during 2 of the portages and before, which made everything soaking wet in the trails, which made footing quite tricky, and of course had to dig out everything. So, but where's that cloud going? I tell you, it goes from sun to rain so fast here today. Got as soon as the sun disappears, you wonder what's going to happen next. But anyhow, I had a nice lunch, and now we're just going to put the boat in the water and hopefully a nice paddle back to the vehicle. Unfortunately, shortened it up, but pretty tough weather here today for me. And with the broken GPS, I really didn't have a lot of choice. Want to maintain my trips and maintain communication with the folks back home. All right, more later. So that site on this island here maybe is at the point. It looked like some traffic over there, but other than that, there's just nothing here. So I would say it's probably at the point. And here's a look at McCarthy Bay. This is kind of a nice lighting we're getting right now here. Let's change that around. So, haven't made too much video on the way back here. I started off in pretty high wind, 20, 25, 30 km. There was one time I was only getting about 2.5 kilometers an hour progress. However, it's died down, thank you very much, in the last 4 or 5K, and I've been able to scoot along at a better rate. So I didn't want to spend too much time making video because I need to get out of here before dark, and right now it looks like I'll make it with an hour to spare, so I didn't want to burn that time up too quickly. However, I'm almost out of McCarthy Bay. I've got another, I don't know, maybe 1.5 kilometers to go, something like that, and then I'll be on Metagamacy, and it's just a matter of paddling down to the input there. Now the thing is, I don't know if the wind will show up again, but right now, gosh, it's pretty nice. So after all I've been through today, I'll take it. Anyhow, we'll see you later. Alright, so we got about a kilometer, 1,200 meters to go. I can see the end here now. So how did this trip go? So day one was nominal, other than I cut off that section on Kukugami because of the brutal winds, which I think was the right thing to do. I also got started a bit late that day, and that seems to be happening to me sometimes in these trips, and that doesn't help either because it puts pressure, and we don't want that because that's when mistakes get made. So day two was supposed to be a look around Donald Lake and then up to that campsite that was pretty sketchy on that island in McCarthy Bay. And then day four was to look at Carl Falls, which didn't happen. And day four would have been the paddle from that island campsite, if that's what we did, back here. So I basically did day two and day four all at once today, after a pretty big day one. So that's kind of, this was supposed to be an easier trip, and not really. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty toasted. So after all the wind and rain and everything that happened, get beautiful air here right now, really smart colors. It's quite a beautiful scenery. You probably can see behind me a bit there, the clouds and the green trees and everything. There's not any real show of fall yet, thankfully, yet in the colors on the tops of the trees that I can see here. There's nothing yet. There was some on the road going in yesterday, but so we're down to about 1K now, and it's rewarding every time, because the difficulties are my difficulties. They're not nature's fault. Nature's what she is, and she's wonderful, and it's what I choose to take on, and how I'm prepared for it. That is the factor that makes whether I'm comfortable or not, or enervated, or in pain, or whatever the math is, warm enough and all the rest. And we always need to remember that, you know, it's just, the only thing, a problem with some of these things is not the thing itself, it's the pain that we're in, and we don't really, not sure whether we have the horsepower left to do that particular hill or whatever. I also find too, it's easy right now, say for example, I got less than a kilometer to go, to say, gee, kind of just wish the trip finished, because you know, you're kind of focused on getting back. But I'm looking around because I never know when I'm going to be back here, and it's a pretty special place. And I feel pretty privileged that at 64 I can still do these kind of days and usually call it fun. And so I'm back. 6 hours and 37 minutes, 23.6K plus the portages, of course. And this is a beautiful area, boy. I'm really glad I found it. The Matagamacy, Chinaguchi, Wolf, Donald Lake area. Wow, it's pretty fun. Anyhow, thank you so much for coming along with me and watching my videos. It's a pleasure to make them, and see you down the trail.
Beginning at my beautiful Donald Lake campsite, I paddled north through Donald Lake to the 130-meter Colin Scott Portage. I then traversed Gold Lake as well, marked item 2 on the map, and ended up on McCarthy Bay's windswept shores, marked item 3. Before having to shorten my trip, I had planned to camp at site C53-2A. The initial paddle down McCarthy Bay was slowed by a stiff headwind of at least 20 kilometers an hour. However, about halfway down, this abated, making the rest of the paddle easier in far better weather conditions as well. And my journey ended at the Mattagamacy Lake Government Boat Launch, marked item 4. And this ended a short and challenging but very rewarding trip. For day 2, I paddled a total of 23.8 kilometers, and I made 3 double portages for a total of 1.7 kilometers of walking, giving a daily total of human-powered travel of 25.5 kilometers in a steady 5 hours and 32 minutes. For the entire 2-day trip, I paddled a total of 40.8 kilometers, effected 6 double portages for a total of 9.7 kilometers of walking, and a trip total then of 50.5 kilometers of human-powered travel in 12 hours and 2 minutes. Thank you very much for coming along.